Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And good morning to the people joining us on Zoom. You all are welcome to today's Mental Fitness. My name is Kate Nwago, and I'm going to be taking growing in your area of choice and skill. In other words, I turn this into what? Achieving mastery and satisfaction through focused development. So these are some of the things we are going to be looking at today, which include the importance of personal choice when it comes to development. When you have decided to grow, the importance of your own choice, you deciding to grow in a particular field, is actually very, very important. Steps to identify your area of choice, the skill development in your area of choice, SMART goals for skill development, leveraging resources for growth, consistency and practice, overcoming challenges, of course, that comes along the way, celebrating your little wins, and the growth mindset. All these are what we are going to be running through during this section. So, introduction to the concept. Growth is most sustainable when focused on areas we are passionate about. I think this is very, very obvious. You know, when you like to do something, you are not forced into it. That way you are able to grow accordingly in line with what you have chosen to do. Developing skills aligned with personal interests leads to greater engagement, satisfaction, and mastery. When you love doing something, I already mentioned, there is no need for anyone to coerce you to go after your goal. There is no need for anyone to, push you towards your goal. You are self-motivated. Unlike when our parents, someone that wants to become the Davido of tomorrow, our parents force them to become, doctors, lawyer, and eventually some of them graduate, return the certificates to their parents, and they continue with their life. Because if they should go in the area that their parents think that is most fit for them, oftentimes they may succeed but might not have the full satisfaction of that career. Then this presentation will explore how to grow in your chosen areas and refine your skills effectively. Now, my opening quote is from Oprah Winfrey, and it says, "Don't worry about being successful, but work towards being significant, and the success will naturally follow." In the area you have chosen, you are constantly working, to become you are not chasing the success now, but to be significant in that field along the line. Of course, success is going to catch up with you. Now, importance of personal choices. Now, why your area of choice matter? Number one, personal interest drives motivation. It is very straight to the point. When you genuinely enjoy or care about something, you want to give it your all. I wrote down here, I said, when you genuinely enjoy or care about something, you are naturally more excited and willing to put in the effort to succeed at it. It's easier to stay focused and work hard when you feel personally connected to what you are doing. So it's not the question is not left to you. This thing I have decided to do, this particular department I am at Born Harvest and Homes, am I enjoying myself? The moment you are able to answer that question in the affirmative, you find that working in that particular department becomes very, very easy. When you are called up from sleep, to do that which you love doing, you're not stressed out. You don't nag whoever called you. Then the next one is greater engagement leads to deeper learning. Because you are motivated, of course you want to know more. You are fascinated by that particular field. You strive, to get better at it day in and day out. The more you participate and care about a subject, the more effectively you learn it, because it becomes easy. Connection to purpose ensures long-term satisfaction. That is what I tried to, state when I talked about the musicians going to take professional courses that are not in their line of interest, and at the end of the day, most of them do return their certificate to their parents. At the long run, you're not satisfied when you go for things that are not really your passion. You're not passionate about them. You tend to fall out at the long run. When your work aligns with your personal goals or values, it gives you a sense of purpose. That is what I keep saying. It's not about waking up and running to work. Are you even satisfied? Are you meeting a particular purpose in that organization, in that company? Now, besides Adbon, where you work, people joining us online, are you meeting a need there? Do you feel like you're fulfilling purpose? Because for most people, it's about the money, but on a deeper level, it's beyond the money. You want to ensure to see that something you are working on actually grows. Now that moves me to the next. Steps to identify your area of choice. Steps on how to identify where you don't need to struggle. Number one is that you have to self-reflect. What are the things that comes easily to you? There's some things that comes very, very easily to me, and when you put it on someone else, you need to give that person like 3 or 4 weeks attention. You need to call the attention at least 3 or 4 weeks before they have to, do that particular thing. Unlike the same thing applies to me. There are some things that I need a lot of time to deal with. They are not in my area of strength. When you self-reflect, you are able to pick out things that are in your area of strength and interest, and also pick out the things that you are not so good at. So I said, number one is, what are you passionate about? There are no stupid answers. Number two is, what activity energizes you? If the work you are doing constantly drains you, you are closing by 4 p.m. and by 2 p.m. it's already looking like 6 p.m. You are not enjoying what you are doing. I'm sorry to actually say. Then the next one is analyze your strengths. Identify skills you naturally excel in. There are some of us that are born teachers. There are some of us that are born communicators. You just need to give them what to say and the way they sell it. And there are some of us that are born marketers. Others need to acquire and learn those skills. Now, remember, we are trying to pick area of choices for you. Then the next one is, consider your long-term goal. The skill that I possess, is it aligning in where I see my future? In where I see myself in the nearest future? How does this area align with where you want to be in the future? So most of these things are questions that you should answer on your own end. Now, the next one is self-development in your area of choice. Now you've identified what you are good with. How do you grow in that particular area? Why developing skills is critical. Number one, skills are the currencies of career advancement. The knowledge you have today, the skill you acquire today will constantly need upgrading for you to remain relevant in whatever field that you find yourself. Number two, expertise is in a chosen area can distinguish you from competitors. You don't need to struggle in your field. When you know it, you know it. Some people say if you day, you day. If you know day, you know day. The next one is type of skills to focus on. We have two major types of skills. We have this hard skill and we have the soft skill. Soft skills are some that, sometimes we are able to identify it even within ourselves before we further go on to brush it. So hard skills is the technical and the specialized skill, the one that you really need to take training on to get better, to do it well. While the soft skills are, communication, leadership, and emotional intelligence. Some of these things, we have them naturally, but of course, we need more training to brush them up. Now, the next one is SMART goals for skill development. You've identified your choice. You've decided to build on what you identify. That is skill development in your area of choice. Now you are placing goals, because when you don't put goals concerning your growth and development, there's a tendency that you might even forget that you are trying to grow in a particular area. So you want to ensure that you make your goals SMART. Of course, we are all familiar with the SMART goal. You want to make it specific. You want to make it measurable, attainable, and relevant and time bound. And I made an example here. I said, for example, instead of I want to get better at digital marketing, possibly, and in fact, it's not possibly, I'm actually talking to myself on this example. Set a goal. I will complete a full digital marketing course in 3 months and complete 2 projects. That way, you are able to, create a timeline for yourself. You are able to, create, I want to learn it during a certain period, and these are the things that I want to attain in another set of period. Now, that takes us to the next one. Leverage resources for growth. Find the right learning platform. How do you learn? Do you learn by listening? Do you learn by reading? I think those are the 2 major ones. So whatever works for you is where you should tilt to. Do you learn by listening to podcasts and it sticks? Or do you learn by sitting just silently by yourself, going through these courses? Or do you learn by reading one after the other? So in making your choices of area to develop your skill, it is important to also pick out how you learn. If I'm going to learn these skills, what are the best options for me? So I listed some here. I said, find the right learning platform. Number one is online courses. I made an example of Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy. There are a lot more of them, depending on what you intend to learn. And the funny thing is that some of these skills that we even want to learn are even free in this age and time. The next one is pick up books, podcasts, and webinar. Then I went further to also mention that mentorship and networking is also important in your area of interest. When you find out that there is somebody that has gone ahead of you, it is easier to pick up from where they stopped. It is easier to look at the mistakes that they've made far back and make it better while going forward. So I stated there, I said, seek out mentors and expertise in your area, attend industry-related events, and build relationships. That takes us further to the next one, keys to sustaining your personal skill development. In fact, this be consistent. I think we all know that whatever you do that you are not consistent at a point you're going to fade out of the system. So be consistent. Consistency is key. Daily or weekly dedication to your area of growth compounds over time. Over time, what was difficult for you on day 1, by day 10, it becomes very, very easy. I will even use exercise, for instance, or even skipping. Let's not even use exercises too. Well, let's take a look at skipping. You've not skipped before, you skip for a very long time, you just go back to it. You might find it difficult to skip like 50 times, but by the time you do it consistently, in the next 10 days, 50 becomes like, nothing. You can easily do that. That also applies to personal development. Then the next one is practice for mastery. You want to practice until you become a master in that particular field. And of course, the only way you can practice is when you are consistent. These two works together. If you are not consistent, there's nothing you learn. And when you don't learn anything, there's nothing there to practice. So deliberate practices involve focus and intentional efforts to improve. Example, 1 hour per day of targeted skill practice. It is funny how this 1 hour per day at targeted skill practice can be very difficult for us in this generation. But when we scroll through Instagram, we can take 3 hours without looking at the time. So this is something that we should deliberately tell ourselves. I am not even teaching in this class. I'm also educating myself. To put off, there are sometimes you need to put off some app, to focus accordingly. Now the next one I am talking about now, the dealing. Of course, there are going to be challenges that will come up along the line. One of these challenges is probably lack of time, feeling overwhelmed, and the imposter syndrome. And how do you deal with this? Number one, on the solution, I said the time management strategy. Funny enough, how I am just learning about the Pomodoro technique while I was making research on this particular topic. What that that Pomodoro technique actually is about is, it says to pick a particular task that you intend to work on, sit with it for 25 minutes only. After 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break and you walk away. Like after the during your 5-minute break, ensure that you stand up from that place, move around, drink water, whatever, and come back again for another 25 minutes. So when you take break in between, there's a way your system makes you understand that, okay, you are working, but you're not overwhelmed. It's not looking like too much of a big deal. You do it, and it says when you are able to cover this set for 4 times, you should take a 20-minute break while you continue. So these are just techniques that could help you in your own alone time when it is time for skill development. And it's also said to disconnect every form of distraction. Every form of distraction. This technique is from Francisco Cirello. I hope I'm able to pronounce that name correctly. Then the next one is break down large tasks into smaller, achievable goals. Break down. No child was born today and they start running. They first of all crawled, walk before they started running. The next one is practice self-compassion and reflect on past success. This imposter syndrome can be a terrible thing if you're not careful. You are in the middle of something, then you meet a little obstacle, and suddenly all your subconscious is telling you is that, in fact, this thing is not for you. Why do you even think that you can even achieve this thing in the first place? There is a need for you to pull back. Look and reflect on the things that you've been able to achieve before now to help you move forward. Then the next one is celebrate small wins. Every little milestone that you reach If it is if food is your kind of rewarding system, why not get food? If buying clothes is what you reward yourself with, do well to do all of those, because they are going to help you on the long run. So recognize and reward yourself for small achievements. Build momentum for further growth. When you're able to reward yourself, you're able to tell yourself, I have hit this milestone. There are more ahead of me that I have to cover. Then the next one, the growth mindset. In trying to grow, there's a kind of mindset that would actually either limit your growth potential, or actually improve your growth potential. Number one is embrace challenges. Because even in the world we are today, even if you are sleeping in your house, challenges will come and meet you there. So just understand that it's a part of life, so that when you get into the journey of growing yourself, personal development, you already understand that this thing is normal. So growth occurs outside of your comfort zone, like I already said. When you get into this new field, you're going to encounter challenges. Continuous learning. Lifelong learning fuels career and personal satisfaction. I don't know who said, but someone once said that the day you stop learning is the day you start what? You start dying. The next one is see failure as a teacher. Don't see failure as an end point. You want to see it as a stepping stone to get better ahead. So every setback offers a lesson for improvement. In conclusion, personal growth is crucial to a company or an organization, because as individuals improve their personal skills, knowledge, and mindset, they contribute more effectively to the company's success. When employees grow personally, they increase productivity, drive innovation, boost team performance, enhance leadership. So in summary, when employees grow skillfully, the company grow with them. And my closing quote is from Steve Jobs. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. When individuals grow, so does a company, because a company's strength is built on the passion and expertise of its people. So I think with that, we've come to the end of today's section. Thank you very much, and I hope you are able to gain 18 or 2. If you have any question, commentaries, additions, do well to put it on the comment section below, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.